genuine choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports passion fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. SB Talk Sports, Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. Sean, it is Monday. It is. It feels like a Monday, man. It feels like it. How you feeling today, brother?
Doing good, SB. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. You know, back in action, back in the fold. We here live. Salute everybody. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, and make sure you guys subscribe. We got a lot to talk about today, Sean. Also, we got to say salute to the chat. Salute Tiff in the chat. Salute said, I'm glad them Bengals are paying everyone in the office. They are no threat to the Ravens in their division. Okay, look, Tiff ready. Tiff, look, I think we going to talk about the Bengals too, man, because they dropped the bag on their wide receivers. And I'm just still wondering, like, okay, what about the rest of the team? You still got Trey Hendricks. You know, what's going to go happen with him? And then also what's going to happen with the O-line because, okay, you got the receivers, but you still got to protect Joe Burrow. We also got to talk. We got some NBA stuff on the list too. Injuries. We getting close to playoff time basketball. Our playoff predictions episode going to come real soon. But we got a couple players injured, players out for the season. We also got a player in a different sport that we usually don't really talk about here. Finna break the all-time scoring record in that sport. We definitely got to talk about that compared to how big it is. And then also, even though we a little bit in past, but it's like day one, day two, free agency, but a lot of teams made a lot of moves.
Yeah, over a weekend. Over
a weekend. So we still gonna do our off-list, wish list, and prediction, but we're gonna go from what the moves that have already been done with the teams. We're gonna do the NFC North and the AFC East. But Sean, we got to start off with something that just popped up. Now, the Phoenix Suns are considering a Mike Budenholzer move to retain Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Good or bad idea?
This would be 3 coaches gone in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They do this. I think it's a bad idea. At some point, it's not the cook. Sometimes it's the ingredients.
Yep.
And they need to own that it's not always the cook. Sometimes it's the ingredients. This is a poorly constructed roster.
Mm-hmm.
Not built to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, you said, okay, well, Monty Williams wasn't the right coach for this team. Okay. Then you go get Frank Vogel, a championship winning coach. And you say he's not the right coach for this team. But then you move on from him. You go get Bud, another championship winning coach. And you say he's not the right coach for this team. At some point, it's not the coach.
It ain't.
It's not the coach. It's the roster construction. And they got
fired Monty after a year after winning coach of the year too, right? Like they fired next year.
Yeah. Yes. So at some point, it's not the coach. And again, I'm a firm believer. I think coaches get probably a little too much heat, particularly from the media. But at some point, you got to say it's not. This isn't a coaching issue. This is a roster construction issue. And when you have championship teams, or teams that are competing for championships, the tie that binds all of them is buy-in from the top. The buy-in from your best players. Tim Duncan can get yelled at and can get talked about in a film session and can't say anything. So how can the next 14 say anything? Right. That's if this team considers itself a champion, the two best players have to ask themselves, have we fully bought in to what these coaches are asking us to do? And this is a big part of the problem, I think. And again, this is not a come down on Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. We know those are great, talented players. This is not that at all. But when you're a part of a team, there's got to be some level of buy-in. And you didn't buy in to Monty. You didn't buy into Vogel because Vogel was gone after a year. And now Bud is apparently the problem. Who are you going to hire realistically that's going to come in and say, oh, yeah, this hire definitely makes us the champion we're supposed to be?
I can't tell you.
And to be frank, not that I'm not saying there won't be someone who won't want that job, because obviously it's one of 30 head coaching jobs in the NBA. Somebody's going to want that job. But at a certain point, if you're a coach, you're like, why would I uproot my family and go somewhere where this is how you treat coaches?
Just to get fired out of the year and get 3 extra free years of checks, that's pretty much probably about the only thing. That's the only thing you get if you go there.
Right. So, again, I just think at some point they got to look at the ingredients. It's not the cook, it's the ingredients.
For me, I think this will be a terrible move. Like you said, there's 3 coaches in the last couple of years, and then one coach that you didn't want to buy into. He won Coach of the Year and led your team to the finals, and you guys haven't been to the finals since Charles Barkley had a jersey on, and he's been on TV eating donuts for the last 10, 12 years. So I think it got to be a point of you got to look, like you said, you got to look at the ingredients. The roster construction, terrible. When you had a good, solid roster that you didn't build on, you decided to destroy it. When they did brought KD in, you still had the Chris Pauls, the Aidens, Devin Booker. That team kind of fit better because you got all different pieces. You look at this team now, your 3-star players pretty much all do the same thing. You really don't have no dirty work guys. You don't really have a true point guard. The defense has been suspect. And you worried about batting into what the coaches got going on. No, it's the roster. I think they should stay firm and fold and be like, hey, we're going to move Kevin Durant. Because with Kevin Durant already being, Sean already being in the mix of saying they're going to trade him, this noise is coming from Devin Booker. So I guarantee when they came out and said, hey, Devin Booker is untradeable, we're going to keep him. The next thing you hear stuff about Bud possibly getting fired to keep Kevin Durant, who they already said they're going to trade, and Devin Booker. No, it's Devin Booker. And I understand not even like to rain on Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is a nice player, very skilled. But majority of his career, he has been losing. But he won really 2-3 years. He really had solid years where he's at the top of the league. And he's been in the league for a long time. And you know what you had? You had good coaching who held everybody accountable, which I know Monty did. And also you had an elite point guard. And also you had other guys that did other things. You got to look in the mirror and say, hey, this is not working. We need to rebuild to the way we was before then. And I don't care how cool you is with KD. You got to let KD walk because KD is your only valuable option to fix this roster. And that KD age, you're not going to get that much for him because you can't trade Bradley Beal, Sean. So, and then you can't really blame the coach. The coach ain't making y'all lose. The coach ain't, at the end of the day, there's only so much the coach can do. And there's only how many times you're going to keep blaming the coach? Because like you said, if you went through 3 people within like the last 2-3 years, at some point it's not the coach. It's different if you get one coach, boom, come change the culture. This was going wrong with the roster. But if 3 different people can't fix the problem, and I'm being real, Sean, it's really one. I'm gonna really say 2. I'm gonna say Bud and Vogel because they pushed Monty out, and I was really ashamed of Devin Booker for that because he was really with Monty's side the whole time What made you switch up on Monty out the blue? This man that helped you got to a finals. He led y'all to a ring. Y'all was at the top of the West multiple times with Monty. Why did you switch up on Monty Williams? That's my only problem, because I think Monty was the guy for the job. Maybe Monty didn't want to go with all the changes that they wanted to do because Monty knew what was better for this team. And you see what happened. This team has been a disaster. It's been an utter disaster. Wait, with Monty last year, they lost in the second round. They went 45-37. That's when I think that's what the year they got KD. The year before that, they won 64 games. Year before that, they won 64 games. Went to the second round. They get KD, go 45. The next year, they get rid of KD. They win a couple more games with Frank Vogel. They are swept. Say, hey, you know what? We got swept with Frank Vogel. It's not because the people we lost to the roster, because we got rid of Aiden, Chris Paul, and then we go trade Bradley Beal, who don't fit in with us. That ain't work. So now it's Vogel's fault. Now we got the same roster. Nothing really has improved. Defense has been utterly atrocious. Offense is going to be okay because you got Devin Booker, KD, who going to make the offense look great. Defense has been utterly atrocious. But it's Bud's fault. That's what I don't understand. Like, looking at this roster, as I'm looking at it now, who is the guy that say, hey, who is my dirty work guy going to get the rebounds? Got Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee, Devin Booker, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, Kevin Durant, Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Monty Morris, Bobo, Damon Lee, Cody Martin. I don't see no dirty work guys. I don't see no guys that'll probably be consistently in a solid rotation. You say three main guys who do three of the same things. When you look at, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, I'm saying when you look at teams that do big three things, that have done it before, even let's look at your Heat, right? All three of them had to do different things for the team to be successful. D-Wade had to take a step back so LeBron can be the lead guy as a star player of the team. But also LeBron had to be a defensive anchor for the wing for that team. Chris Bosh, inside-out scorer. Hey, look, Chris Bosh, we need you to play outside the three, and also we need you to get on these boards. D-Wade, take a backseat, be number two. When your shots come, knock them down. But, hey, play your role. But I still need you to be one of the best defenders on the wing. I mean, you might need you to get a rebound as a guard. Now I need you might be off ball, more cut. Okay, now this time I need you to do this playmate. They don't do that. They don't. KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. Hey, Paul Pierce going to be our guy closing out. KG, you're going to be the defensive anchor inside and out. I need you to knock that midi down, be a catch-and-shoot guy. You're not really going to get that post play like you really – if it's there, we'll give it to you. But mainly we want you to rebound, be the defensive anchor, and knock down those midi. Ray Allen, hey, look, I know you was shooting this, dribbling like that. I need you always run off screen like how Rip Hamilton was. Be out, spread the floor. Paul Pierce, you're going to be our closer. You're going to be the star. Everybody had to do different things. I don't see this with these guys. And I can't see them being leaders to get other people to buy in and play out of their character to do other things. But it's the coach's fault. I just don't understand it.
I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because I know we got a lot to get into, but I'll just say this. When all is said and done, we're going to have a very interesting conversation about Kevin Durant's all-time place with the all-time greats. And it's not a slight to Kevin Durant, because I know there's people that think, oh, you know, I don't hate Kevin Durant. I like Kevin Durant. I've always liked Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about a foundational franchise player, we're going to have an interesting conversation about Kevin Durant.
Yeah. I hope he'll get that coach killer on his name. It's about getting there.
I hope not either.
But it's getting there.
But between Brooklyn and now Phoenix, if this happens, it's going to be fodder for the media. I'm saying that. That's not something I necessarily want to assign to a guy, because again, one guy generally is not the reason why a coach gets fired, but it's going to be very much media fodder.
Yeah. You're right about that. Let us know what you guys think about that. Would the Suns be making a mistake by firing Mike Budenholzer to retain Kevin Durant, Devin Booker? Let us know down in the chat. Comment down below. Next thing up, Sean. Podcast P might be back, man. He might be back in action just when he shut down the podcast. Paul George is out for the season. Philadelphia 76ers wing Paul George. I'm so used to saying superstar Paul George. I almost just said it off instinct. That's crazy. The first time they didn't even say star, superstar next to Paul George. Paul George got to lock in. But Philadelphia 76ers wing Paul George has been ruled out for the rest of the season after receiving injections in his left abductor muscle and left knee. The team announced Monday. So Paul George looking like he's going to be out for the season. Also, Sean, it has been reported that Paul George has been taking painkiller injections for 5 games before the All-Star break. So I guess he's been taking like painkillers in his knees. What's your reaction to this? And his podcast B coming back?
First, I hope not.
He is though.
I hope not. He won't. I really hope not. Primarily because at this point, stay out of the spotlight. I think the Sixers are going to try to look to move Paul George this offseason. He's got 3 years left on his deal at a roughly about $160 million left on that deal.
You might want that contract.
Not in their right minds. Now, if the Sixers are willing to attach something to it to move it, i.e. like an unprotected future first-round pick or something like that, a team might be willing to take it on, but that remains to be seen. That said, it's not surprising the Sixers are shutting him down. Obviously, Embiid's out for the season. They, at this point, want to try to hold on to their first-round pick, which is top 6 protected, that belongs to OKC, which seems like a travesty if OKC somehow, gets a top 6 pick, or a lottery pick out of this deal. But anyway,
I'll tell you, the first who need to go there. We just talked about the first set. Go ahead, get that pick. Go get KD, man.
Yeah, no, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. But no, I just think it's for the Sixers organizationally, shut down the rest of this season. Understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the best pick possible in this draft and hold on to your pick and figure out, what you're going to do with Paul George this offseason. I don't think Embiid's going anywhere, short of them getting a crazy offer for Embiid, but I think they got to figure out this Paul George situation this offseason. I
have to agree with you on that. Give me 1 second, because Tiffany got me rolling. Did you call Paul George Paul Georgia? It's crazy. Tiffany crazy, dog. But first of all, nobody's trading for Paul George. But if I was the 76ers, and how you get rid of Paul George, I try to get a haul. I'm attaching Joel Embiid. I know it'd probably be hard because the money would probably be outrageous together.
Yeah, no, you can't trade those 2 guys together unless you're taking back.
Hey, we go. We gonna take crazy amount of money and pieces, whatever we got to do. But my main point is, because I know it's kind of hard to do it together, trade both of them. And I know it's going to be, I think actually crazy about it, I think it might be hard to get rid of Embiid than Paul George, because one Embiid contract is massive. And also the 76ers going to want a lot for Embiid, but they're not going to get what they want for Embiid. And I believe that's why Embiid will be harder to move, because now it's like, well, I might as well just keep him because I'm not going to get what I want for him. But it's like, at the end of the day, from what I've seen with the 76ers, and I hate that the rookie got hurt, McCain, I think the future is now. And if the 76ers were smart, you'd rather trade somebody too early, a year early than a year too late. And I'm already think they are already a year too late with Joel Embiid. And I also think they was a year late from trading Paul George the day they signed him, to be honest with you. So I just think they need to go in a different direction. I can't see any future with this team being good with Paul George and Joel Embiid, because even if, say, next year we come in the season and they show a spark of like, oh, okay, these guys fit in very well, it'd be good. I know it's not if, it's when they're going to get hurt. And when when that happens, how long they're going to be out with a mix of the rotation. Then also, you got a rookie who just showed promise, even though I know people hate because he be on TikTok dancing, but he showed that he can ball. And he balled majority of the time when Embiid wasn't in the lineup because he actually got the ball. Don't stunt that young man's growth. Let that man play. It's rare, but you have a declining superstar and you already have his replacement there, Raiden. It's time to let Tyrese Maxey get his wings. At the end of the day, I know Philly had their championship hopes with Joel Embiid and be like, yeah, we can't just trade him. Y'all haven't got past the second round. Joel Embiid ain't going to be healthy to get you past the second round. You might as well just start rebuilding up for the future, especially with this draft being as high as it is. And especially if I get my pick, Sean, and I'm in the top, and I'll possibly get a chance to get 1, 2, or getting that Cooper Flag sweepstakes. I'm sorry. I'm letting Joel Embiid go. And this is just a perfect set. And I'm letting Paul George go too.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not even can they let them go. It's what are they willing to attach to them for teams who take on their contracts. I tell you all the time, no contract is untradeable unless it has a no trade clause. So oftentimes is what are teams willing to attach to these immovable contracts? And think back in the day with John Wall, his contract with Washington. People didn't think that contract was tradable, but they were willing to take on. Houston was willing to take on that contract, provided they got something attached to it to send it back Russell Westbrook. So it's a matter of what are the Sixers willing to attach to either of those deals to move them. Again, I don't think they're trying to trade Joel Embiid. I think Paul George is definitely much more in the conversation because there's not a long-term relationship with Paul George there. So, yeah.
Yeah, we have to see it. I'm sure looking. The only thing I'm seeing, which this will even be even crazier, but I don't think he would let. From what I'm saying is, they said if Joel Embiid was to get traded, it might be the Nets because the Nets have like the space to get Joel Embiid, but I don't know if they got like the assets. Let me see. They said it possibly could be.
They have assets. I mean, they have players to be moved, but again, it's what is Joel Embiid's real trade value given his health, which is always the issue with Joel Embiid.
If you the Nets GM, right? This is the trade. Would you tell me would you accept this or not for Joel Embiid? Or either both. Give me both answers if you both sides. Sixers or the. So it would be Joel Embiid to the Nets for Nick Claxton, Cameron Johnson, a 2025 first round pick, either OKC, Houston, or Phoenix, a 2027 first round pick from New York, and a 2030 second round pick for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm telling you right now, if I'm Philly, I'm taking that.
Again, the question is not Philly. The question is, why would Brooklyn do that?
Yeah, Brooklyn, I don't know.
And that's my point. So, again, when people put out these mock trades, a lot of times it's very favorable to one side, but the other side is getting screwed in the middle.
The crazy part about this, Sean, this is going to blow your mind. This is the Brooklyn Nets Sports Illustrated writer. So this is somebody writing for the Brooklyn Nets saying they want Joel Embiid, or saying Joel Embiid could go there. So this is for the net side. It's not even the Philadelphia people, right? This is the net side right there.
Well, so yeah, so let me say that they're writing about the Brooklyn Nets. They're not writing for the Brooklyn Nets.
Because if I'm Philly, deal instantly. Oh man, I don't really know if I can deal. Let's do it instantly. Look, that'll be nice. Cameron, Nick Claxton, you got some pigs back. Tyrese Maxey, then I'm saying, and then they said the next one was I don't think there's no trade for this one, but they saying Paul George could possibly go to the Lakers, but I don't see how that would work with that money. But I think this one is just like, they say everybody go to the Lakers. That's one of them. The Lakers think to get somebody. But on to the next story though, Sean. We gotta talk about the New York Knicks, and as much as I got love for this coach, we're gonna get into the coach too. But Jalen Brunson is out until at least late March. We sidelined. He says he has a sprained right ankle. The team initially announced that Brunson would be out for 2 weeks after the injury. The Knicks have posted a 21 record in the 3 games Brunson has been out. Is this a product from the Mikal Bridges incident where he was saying that Tom Thibodeau plays the starters a little too much, especially with the wings? And I have a lot to say about this because I have experience with Tibbs. And I'm not saying it's Tibbs' fault that Derrick Rose got hurt, but or Joakim Noah or the Ding needs being gone. But I'm just saying this has been talked about a lot with Tibbs about Tibbs' rotation of playing stars. But is this a product of the Tibbs situation or just unfortunate that Brunson got hurt?
I mean, it's unfortunate anytime your star player gets hurt. But it's also part of the game. It was a pretty good sprain. He did against the Lakers a couple weeks ago, and certainly you don't want to see that because again he is a big part of what they want to do in New York. That said, they're in the third space in the standings right now, third in the standings right now in the Eastern Conference. They are a few games ahead of Milwaukee and the Pacers and the Pistons. Their big thing right now is to try to hold off those teams without Jalen Brunson, so they don't slip into potentially ending up in the play-in. I don't think they will at this point, but that's their primary goal without him, because they're not going anywhere in the playoffs without a healthy Jalen Brunson. Now again, I think they're a second round team at best in the playoffs, even with Jalen Brunson. But their primary thing is make sure they're healthy, with as healthy as possible with Jalen Brunson going into the playoffs.
I think definitely you got to be as healthy as possible going to the playoffs, and that's another thing that I think Tibbs got to understand. Like, bro, y'all are third in the East. I don't think y'all finna get the number 1 seed. Y'all ain't chasing an all-time record. Play the young guys, and then also y'all not gonna get nowhere without Brunson or Cat. And as much moves that the Knicks have made, I still think they might be a piece or another guy away, maybe another rotational guy, maybe that big away. And I don't think they can make any more moves. So the best thing I would probably say, just hope for them, is that draft or hope Mitchell Robinson get healthy. But
he's
healthy now. Yeah, be consistently healthy or get through the draft. That's really it. But this is like, it's too late in the season for Brunson to be getting hurt. You can't afford to get nobody hurt because you got to go see Cleveland. You got to go see Boston. And you're not winning if none of your guys hurt. Or also, Sean, none of your guys are fatigued. And I have to say this, Sean, Tibbs hasn't changed. And this is the same problem with any Tom Thibodeau-led team, because you play your starters a lot of these minutes, even if it's went down a little bit, but you still got to watch and see rotations, people still be in the game. The game could be won. Mikal Bridges still in the game. OG still in the game. Cat's still in the game. 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left in the fourth. Tibbs, it's February. It's January. This one game on this Tuesday against the Sacramento Kings ain't gonna make that much of a difference, big fella. It's okay. Y'all are playing for something bigger. When you playing for something bigger, that's cool. But also, Tibbs, to trust the other young guys to play in the playoffs, Sean, you gotta give them a chance and give them serious minutes. Let the young fella close the game out for 2. Or okay, let him get majority of the minutes in the fourth, and then bring Brunson in. If now the game is still close because you have the young fella in, now bring Brunson in and close it up. Now it makes sense where I could be like, hey, okay, you played the young guy, now Brunson closing the last 4 minutes, the last 4 or 5 minutes. Something. You got to switch it up during the season. And I'm only going to compare 2 top teams, and I don't want anybody to say, you picked these 2 teams. I picked the 2 top teams with depth rosters. They both in the East. Sean, I'm going for the starters minutes, right? The New York Knicks, right? Josh Hart is averaging 37 minutes per game, pretty much 38 minutes per game. Mikal Bridges, Mr. Iron Man, who had to complain about this, is giving you 37.8 minutes a game, pretty much 38 minutes per game. OG Anunoby, 37 minutes per game. Jalen Brunson, 35. Cat, 35. Does they start 5? The team that's above them in the East, Donovan Mitchell, 31 minutes per game. Darius Garland, 30 minutes per game. Evan Mobley, 30 minutes per game. Jared Allen, 28 minutes per game. DeAndre Hunter, who they just got to trade deadline, playing 25 minutes per game. And it's spread out through the bench. We got a lot of people off the bench playing close to 20 minutes a game. Tibbs, you got to spread out the roster time. He got his rotation look like the playoffs. Literally, Sean, after your starters for the Knicks, McBride and Precious Achiuwa is the only 2 people playing 20 minutes per game. Tibbs ain't changed, Sean, and it's the problem. You know what's going to happen? Somebody going to get hurt, knock on wood, or they're going to be gassed by the playoffs. It's the same story with the Knicks. It's the same story. Tibbs got to change his rotations, or Tibbs do your job, right? You do your coach. I need an assistant coach to handle the rotations and sub everybody in and out. Or this was going to happen, Sean. It's going to be curtains. I don't know what else they could do. Now, Sean, we got to switch over to something a little different than what we usually talk about. We got to go to hockey because it's a possibility of history in the making that could happen. Future Hall of Famer in hockey. One of the GOATs. He's going to go down as one of the GOATs. I don't know how they do the GOAT debates in hockey. I don't know how they don't have one. They have one. It's just Gretzky.
Right.
But Alex Ovechkin is 8 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time scoring record, which this record has been held since 1999?
Yes.
How big would this be? And then where would this rank in like breaking records wise?
I mean, it's huge, SB, when you talk about, first of all, Wayne Gretzky his nickname is the Great One, right? Mm-hmm. So, we don't have, there's people who've never watched a minute of hockey who know who Wayne Gretzky is, mm-hmm. right? Just tell you this real quick. Wayne Gretzky was so popular. There used to be this cartoon that came on, I want to say it was like in the late 80s, early 90s, called Pro Stars. And it was basically like 3 professional athletes who like doubled as like superheroes. So it was Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm. That's
how popular Wayne Gretzky was, just to put it in context. But that said, Wayne Gretzky's known. It's akin to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar setting the scoring record. Mm-hmm. That it was long thought that nobody would ever break this record because, again, just the longevity, the consistency that happened. There's a huge, mm-hmm. Part of that factors into, how a record like this gets broken. Alex Ovechkin, for all intents and purposes, is the LeBron James of hockey. That playing he's almost 40 now and still playing at this level. Not where he's just about to break the record. I believe he was also at one point leading the league in goals this year. Mm-hmm. It's a massive, massive accomplishment, and I hope it gets celebrated in the same way that a couple years ago we celebrated LeBron breaking and setting the all-time scoring record in the NBA. Mm-hmm. That it's a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment.
Is it something in the water nowadays with like these old guys still hooping? LeBron, Alex Ovechkin, they still what's going on, man?
Yeah, I think it's medicine. I think it's the advancement of sports science and guys understanding, things to do with their bodies. And I don't say guys, but athletes, because mm-hmm. Diana Taurasi is a great example of that. Yeah. Athletes understanding if I want to play for a certain amount of time, here are the things that I have to do in order to do that. And here's the investment I have to make in my body to do that, coupled with having, a great deal of, luck as well, because, you got to avoid,
Got to avoid injuries.
the long-term injuries and things of that nature. So, I think it's several things, but I just think it's just the advancements in sports science and guys understanding and athletes understanding, how to make that a part of their routine.
12, 15, 16. So I think it's at least about like 16 games left of the season. So he got into April 17th to get 8 more. And like you said, how he been scoring it, I think he might get it. And then also, if he don't get it this season, which I think how he's been playing this season and looking like how they've been scoring this season, he might get it. But I don't think he didn't say nothing about him retiring this year, has he?
No, I don't think he's mentioned anything like that. And he's still playing at such a level that I would be surprised if he even does that, to be honest.
Yeah. No, but I do have to agree that I think this should be celebrated like that. And then also, I think like as sports fans, even in general, even if you don't watch like certain sports, like I don't watch hockey here like all the time. Like if it ain't the Blackhawks, I really don't care. And the Blackhawks not really good right now. But I think we should be like happy as a sports fans and appreciative because like we seeing things that ain't been broken in years, and some people ain't see records get broken like this. Like I could like say as a basketball fan, I was like alive and I watched the game where LeBron broke the scoring record. That's outstanding, like to say. Like then you got the outfit to possibly see Alex Ovechkin because now if I know he's like a goal away, I ain't gonna lie, I might have to watch that game, Sean. I might have to turn it on just to see it because it's part of the sports history. So it's sometimes it's like bigger. It's bigger than like necessarily what you like or what you cheer for. Sometimes, like even I know the people who probably didn't even like rock with LeBron, but I guarantee they watched that because at the end of the sports history, you got to watch that. I wonder what, like you said, I'm gonna wait and see because that's my big question. Is like because hockey is really known as like a Canadian sport, but we got it here and we kind of like watch it a little bit. It ain't as popular as football or basketball, but so like, will America praise it like that? I know probably in Canada they might, but will we praise it like that? And then where would this sit at? Like how we gonna look at this?
I mean, it's hard to say how we'll look at it. I mean, obviously, when you talk about the 4 major sports, hockey is probably fourth on the list for a lot of people. And I would say even for a lot of people, hockey is probably behind NASCAR, if we're being honest, because NASCAR is super popular. But that said, anytime someone accomplishes something in sports like this, and again, you think about, the majors record in golf, Jack Nicklaus, and everybody thought that Tiger Woods would be the one who would catch it and obviously at some point surpass it. Not going to happen now, but you know what I mean? So, but I think it's been that way for several years, but people didn't want to be honest about it, but that's another conversation. But I think the point is that it's an accomplishment that you rarely see, and again, this is, 25 years ago, or 26 years ago when Wayne Gretzky retired, there was thought a lot of his records would never be broken. And, nobody saw this coming. So it's an amazing accomplishment. Again, I don't want to try to compare it too much to other sports, but again, the Kareem LeBron scoring record, that's probably the closest thing I think this comes to, in my opinion.
Sean, we got to talk about something that happened to football before we get in our wish list, right? The Bengals have signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to a massive 4-year extension.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase has got a 4-year, $161 million extension, and T. Higgins has a 4-year, $115 million extension. Chase deal contains $112 million guaranteed, and I don't see if they says how much T. Higgins was 100% guaranteed. I guess the rest of the information will come out yet. Jamar Chase average salary will around about $40 million per year, surpassing Justin Jefferson at 35. Good or bad signing idea, Sharon? I wanted to ask you that first, yes or no. Then I'm gonna have a second question after that. Well, yes or no, good or bad, signing both of them.
If this had been a year ago, I probably would have said it was a good signing. Now I don't think it's a good signing.
Okay. Second question. You do this. I want you to finish elaborating on why it's not a bad signing. Second question. Who else you gonna sign on your team?
That's the $1 million question.
Because it's like we got Joe Burrow, Higgins, Chase. Where else the buddy go? What else buddy we got?
I mean, they still have, I think, roughly $28 million in cap space, even after these signings, these extensions. And keep in mind, these are extensions. So the only person who was technically a free agent was Higgins, even though he was tagged.
Mm-hmm.
Chase had another year left on his deal, his 5th-year rookie option. I was trying to find a historical comparison for this in terms of you sign both of your receivers to these massive extensions. There's not one.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find a historical comparison for who Higgins and Chase are together. The low-hanging fruit would say Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, but they are not Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. All respect to Chase and Higgins. They're great players, but they are not Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne.
Not yet, but they up there, dude. I mean, Chase up there.
Chase is up there. Higgins, I think, is a really, really good player, but I don't think Higgins is a guy that I say, oh, when all is said and done, he's probably heading towards the Hall of Fame. Probably not. But he's a really, really good player. And I'm not saying he's not, because I think there would have been teams, had he been on the open market, who would have opened up the purse strings for T. Higgins, given his size, his ability to win one-on-one. Can't take that from him. But that said, this seems more to keep Joe Burrow happy than anything.
That's all this did. That's all this did.
That's all for now. But here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. They may go out and score 50 points every game next season. But if they give up 51 and every game they score 50, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I think it's such a horrible signing. And their defense, outside of Trey Hendrickson, was not very good this year.
Mm-hmm.
When I say not very good, I believe they were ranked 27th in the NFL.
Yeah, that was around that area. Yeah, that was bad.
Right. Every defense, every team that wins the Super Bowl, generally speaking, has a top 10 defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 1 year, probably in the last 15 years or so, where the Super Bowl winning team was maybe like 15 or 14 or 15, but top 10.
What was the Bengals defense the year they made? I know they was up there the year they made it to Super Bowl, right?
They were pretty good that year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were more, and I would say they were more of an opportunistic defense than anything. They were a defense that kind of turned the ball over pretty well, if I remember, because I think they had some crazy turnover ratio, plus minus turnover ratio from the offense defense. So this is if I'm playing against them, I know I got to do two things. One, I got to have two corners, and I got to have a good 4-man rush.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, am I really worried about the Bengals?
I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
So, and as much as we always say, great, you got a great quarterback. You got a great quarterback. A quarterback is only as great as the greatness of others around him. And oftentimes that greatness has nothing to do with them. Meaning, if you don't have a defense, and I just said a top 10 defense, because again, with the O-line, people will talk about the offensive line, but when you got a veteran quarterback, particularly a quarterback who's played and seen a lot of football, there's certain things they can do to manipulate not having the best offensive line in the world. We just saw that with Patrick Mahomes the last couple of years. So I think there's certain things you can do, but I'm talking about the side of the ball they don't necessarily control is the defense. They don't have any control of that. So they need a defense. I got to assume they're going to put the remaining of their resources, and I mean their draft resources, on the defensive side of the football.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was just a terrible. It was just terrible. There's no way to say it was terrible. It's terrible for them. But
Joe Burrow's happy.
Joe Burrow's happy. But again, you got kids, you got small kids.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids would be happy to get candy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to say, no, you can't have this candy. Well, that's not the way we're set up.
No,
so I think that's what it feels like with this particular move.
For me, like you said, I had to agree with you. Like if it was like last year or a couple years ago, matter of fact, I ain't gonna go that far past. If they defense would have showed some promise or be like a little bit average, but you could just like, it could tell you like, hey, we get some nice young pieces in this draft, or we get this and we could be good, then I can understand this. Your defense has been atrocious. Atrocious. And with your defense being as bad as it is, how do you sign both your receivers? One of them was triple count, so I get you got to at least keep one of them. You would have to let the other one go just so you could get other pieces on your team or defense or something, add to the line. Something.
Yeah, Chase wasn't going anywhere. Like I don't think anybody in their right mind thought Chase was going anywhere. We knew he wasn't going anywhere, and nor should he. He's it's him and Jay Jettas, I think, compete for that number one receiver spot in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea of, hey, we are we're trying to, compete, and we're trying to, do what we can to win. Mm-hmm. With this window we have, this is not a win. This is not a winning move. You need balance. You need balance. And again, had they done this a year ago, I would give you this example, right? AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. We consider them a very good receiver duo. They are costing, I think, $12 million less combined than this duo.
Mm-hmm. You know what's best around them too? They got every other piece. They got a line, D-line, secondary, linebackers. They even got a great running back. Besides, and I'm not even joking really when I say this. Really, besides, Joe Burrow, a receiving core. What other positions do they got that's elite?
Right.
Like I said, I didn't say good because you guys are good, solid players here and there. But I'm saying, like, what else do they have that's elite, or is like above good, a great?
No, Trey Henderson made. Trey Henderson. That's it.
If you look at the Eagles, like you said, it costs $12 million. You could look at their receiving core, elite. If you want to say they're not AJ Brown, not AJ Brown. They don't want to say they Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. So say if like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase is an A, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith is an A minus. But guess what? They still got an O line. They still got Saquon Barkley. They got an elite defense. That's how what's up, Anti, man. Change that picture, man. Light skin face. Too dark to do a light skin face. Salute, Anti. But he said they had no choice. They heard what Joe was saying in the media, so they had to keep your franchise QB happy. I can rock with that, right? But like Shy just said, like, I got kids. My kids be happy if they eat candy every day. No, you can't eat candy every day. You might have to get you some greens in that broccoli that can block and protect you. That's that O line. Or you might have to get you some other protein that D line, you know what I'm saying, that buff you up, get you some muscle, or maybe you have to not drink juice all the time, get you some secondary that can keep up, get you some water, you know what I'm saying? So it's good to have a healthy balance. Then then your candy, that's your wide receiver. You still got to have a balanced diet. They went 9-8 with the Triple Crown winner. That told you right there. He won a Triple Crown and didn't make the playoffs. They went 9-8. And the part of the problem going 9-8 was the same thing they complained about, their defense. And I like the running back Chase Brown, but I mean, like, is he all world moving? Is he game changing? What if you run into that team where the passing game ain't working? What's next?
You want a game to epitomize them last year? Go back and watch the game against Pittsburgh when Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson are literally in a shootout. Mm-hmm. And Russell Wilson has probably the best game he's had in 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the Bengals lost.
Yep.
Let's look at and again, I'm not talking about not wanting the guy to have weapons, because again, you need weapons. Nobody's disputing that at all. But let's look at the team that just won the Super Bowl. Trenches. Mm-hmm. Take care of the trenches.
That's going to win or lose.
Take care of the trenches. That's football. You're not winning. And again, the Eagles were able to do what they were able to do because they built it inside out. Look at the Detroit Lions. Trenches. They built it inside out. This is not a slight to T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is a very good receiver. Mm-hmm. I think he's a very good receiver. And I think on a lot of teams, he would probably be a number one receiver on a lot of teams. But when you're not built to win, and that Cincinnati team is not built to win, and they cannot fool themselves thinking they're built to win, you got to look at, why are we not built to win? You just mentioned Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
Look at the rest of their defense.
Mm-hmm. And every good team made a sacrifice before. We done seen teams let guys go. The Chiefs let the Chiefs let Tyreek Hill go. They didn't overpay him. At the end of the day, you gotta do what we gotta do.
Right. And again, if I gotta choose, you gotta ask me, hey, would I rather have Tyreek Hill or T. Higgins? Hey, T. Higgins, I love you, but you got to go.
I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
So that's it. So,
Yeah. And then hold on, last question. After they say, okay, let's talk about the defense. Who out there right now that's a free that could come change in their defense?
It'll never be one person. That's the point.
Yeah,
that's what I mean about the resources, right? The resources. You got to extend Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is going to be looking for a deal in the same neighborhood, if not right up under, of what Myles Garrett just got. Mm-hmm. And what Max Crosby just got, because as important as, and again, if you're building a football team, I have a firm belief, after the quarterback position, the most important position on the football field is a pass rusher, is a guy who can get after the quarterback, because we've said, hey, we want these teams, we want football to be spread out, we want teams to be in 4 and 5 receiver sets, and we want you to spread and score points. You better have somebody who can get after the quarterback. And if you don't, you got to go find one. These teams, that's why we're talking about a guy like Abdul Carter being potentially the first pick of the draft.
Even with an injury.
Even with an injury. Because guys like that, that's what you need. But you don't, just one ain't going to help.
Also, Sean, I got a question, though, too. Like, and I'm only using it. I know people be like, they fair using the Chiefs. No, it is fair because their team got dismantled and they still winning. They let Tyreek Hill walk. Who's the other guy that they signed, Sean, that's still on their team and anchored them?
Travis Kelce?
Defense side.
Oh, defense side. Oh, Chris Jones.
And what Chris Jones at? In that trench. And guess what? They done rotated people out that defense, and that defense ain't changed.
All right.
They done lost DBs.
You see who they use their franchise tag on this year?
Cool.
They right guard, Trey Smith. You know why? Because he's one of the best right guards in the game. And he's only 25 years old.
Yeah.
And they know how valuable he is.
Yeah.
They know he's so valuable. They traded Joe Tooney to the Bears.
You have to.
So that's what I'm saying. I think, again, it's as much as people get enamored with the weapons and all that stuff. If I'm looking you can't replace a T. Higgins. I'm not suggesting you replace a T. Higgins.
Oh, no.
I'm saying that your quarterback, along with Jamar Chase, is so good that if you go by committee on the other side, you're still going to be a good offense, but you have to have resources to allocate to the other side of the ball. If you don't, you're gonna be in for a long way. And so again, I'm just saying, and I'm just looking at that division. Does this?
Yeah, that division is stupid.
Yeah, does this conceivably put them ahead of or in the same conversation with Baltimore? No, it doesn't.
And don't put them in the same conversation with the Steelers.
And the Steelers don't even have a quarterback.
No, I'm taking the Steelers situation over them right now. Because it's literally just like it's just them and Jamar Chase. And I know we got to still do our what's the name, so we can knock it out. But anti-low thing you said is like, why would you pay the guy that much? Because you gonna pay him, and then you can still build around the Hendricks, the Trey Hendricks contract. Because now you pay both of them. He finna leave. He finna walk. You got maybe. Like you said, maybe. And then if you do sign, if you do sign him back, you got no more money. Now it's nothing you can do. It's literally just hopefully you pick the right 7 defenders.
Yeah.
That's it. He said Bang said they're gonna be fine. I don't think so. But look, we got to get into our off-season wish list.
Hey, Bang, if 9-8 is fine, 9-8 is fine.
9-8 is fine. Hey, if I got a wide receiver, I almost go for 2,000 yards, and I can't get over 10 games. Nah, man. So I got to check. Hey,
I mean, Cowboys been 9-8, for the last 30 years. I mean, hey, right.
But all right, we got to do NFC North Edition. Obviously, I had stuff going on, so we missed the last one, and we had to reevaluate our list because of different things that happened. So we're gonna go off from what moves that has been done so far. Obviously, let me look up this. Hold on, I gotta look it up. First team on the list right here, Chicago Bears. I'm trying to think the big moves that they made so far. I want to acknowledge the Grady Jarrett. I had it up. I got to retype it up. Give me a second, Sean. Sorry. I won't, because it's another move that they did.
They signed the center, Drew Dahlman from Atlanta. They traded for Jonah Jackson from the Rams, the guard. They traded for Joe Tooney, the guard from Kansas City. So they've, basically changed the interior of their offensive line. They made a lot of great moves. And again, what did they do? They
address the trenches. Address the trenches. And watch again, now. I guarantee the Bears ain't gonna go 9-8. I guarantee the Bears have a better record than the Bengals. I can guarantee that. I guarantee that.
And in that, they when we did this again, we did this, thinking we were gonna do this, last Monday. But we'll see. So, their team needs were our edge, offensive center, which they addressed, defensive tackle, which they addressed, offensive tackle, which again I don't think is so much a need. I think they like their tackles, but again I think they'll probably try to add some depth there. Safety and running back. So, so the first thing for me is I think the Bears are going to draft at least one, if not two, offensive linemen probably later in this draft. Because again, it's not just what they did in free agency. They want to have depth. They want to create probably some competition on the offensive lines, especially. So they're going to spend, some late draft picks. Someone like Anthony Belton from NC State could be there early day 3, probably would be like a 4th round pick. I think he's a very good developmental offensive tackle, 6'6", 345, really good athlete. I think he could be a guy that could really fit the Bears and what they're trying to do in creating that competitive depth on the offensive line. The second thing is I think they want to add a playmaking safety in this draft as well. Again, when you think about, just the Bears, it's the Bears. The one thing the Bears are always going to generally try to have for all we talk about offense, the Bears want to have a good defense. They understand in that division with Green Bay, with Minnesota, with Detroit. You got to be able to stop somebody, unlike the Bengals. So they definitely going to. And then the third thing, if he's on the board, and I'm seeing a lot of these post free agency mock drafts, draft Ashton Genty with the 10th pick.
Okay.
Draft Ashton Genty with the 10th pick. He is a Chicago Bear. Watch him run. Now, I've been screaming this for 2 months, SB.
Yeah, you have been screaming it.
And I do firmly believe there's a great interest from the Chicago Bears in Ashton Genty. But I also think the other team to watch for them in the top 10 is the Raiders. With Pete Carroll and obviously Geno Smith now at quarterback. They're probably going to want a young running back. I think Ashton Genty may interest them. I've watched some film of Ashton Genty, done a little bit of breakdown on Ashton Genty. To me, he is a smaller LaDainian Tomlinson. There is nothing he does not do well. And I'm just tell you this, SB. I asked another friend of mine who played running back in college about Ashton Genty. Ironically, he had the same comparison. He said he does everything well. I've seen, a faster Emmitt Smith. I've seen D'Angelo Williams. All nice comparisons, but he does everything well. He is, when you think about a Bear running back, and again, history of the Bears, Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, Ashton Genty should be a Chicago Bear.
Okay, that's the big shoes to fill. The LT is a lot for me. LT is a lot for me.
He is like that.
Obviously, like you said, we had to redefine it because we had to change it. I had a lot of stuff addressed in the trenches or during their term. So I'm gonna say my number one thing was address the trenches, both sides of the ball. So that is checked. Now, this is my first one. This only if this happens. If he slips, and it's crazy, bro. You took the words right out of my mouth. If Abdul Carter slip any little bit, trade up and get him. If by the 5th pick, nobody picks him, I doubt it. But if Carter, I say even trade, if he slips even 4 picks, trade up and get Abdul Carter. Sign him now.
Can I say this, SB, real quick? Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're doing another draft live stream, first round live stream. Mm-hmm. If Abdul Carter lasts past the 4th pick, I would do 100 push-ups during our live draft stream.
Okay,
he is not getting past the 4th pick in this draft.
It's a possibility. Because people don't know the draft, it'd be a dirty game. People would be out there saying all nasty stuff about you. Oh man, I seen that ankle, man. I don't think he's still that elbow. The elbow is just, it's no point of return. I don't think he's never gonna recover. He can't do the same.
Let me say top five. Just to
top 5. But yes, if Abdul Carter slipped to at least 5, trade for him. Yeah, a trade up and get him. We could get another. There's some other good backs in this draft too. But if you want to go young,
yes.
But also, so if you do that, I also switched it up. I didn't say go young because I'm shocked that he's still available. And if you got Swift and you see what Detroit did, and if you see Swift can be he ain't Gibbs, but he can kind of be the Aldi's version of Gibbs. I signed Nick Chubb. You won't cost you that much. He'll be a quick power down back. He could get in the trenches of the goal line when it's 3rd and 2. And the Dolphins, you could go get Nick Chubb. I think a vet like Nick Chubb will get the job done. You ain't asking too much from him. You got Ben Johnson, who love running the offense with 2 running backs anyway. One a hard-nosed running back down the line, and then you got a quick guy who can do multiple things, which I think Swift can do that now. Swift ain't Gibbs. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, this is gonna be the Aldi's version. It's gonna be the off-brand. But you with Ben Johnson and his offense skills, you can make it happen. But if neither one of those happen, I will have to agree with you. Draft Ashton Genty. Just go ahead and get Genty and worry about the rest because you really don't need a receiver. And a receiver that you would take this early, I don't think he gonna make it that far down to 10. I'd be shocked if the guy from Arizona, I don't think he's gonna make it that far.
Yeah, he's kind of
not.
iffy.
He's
Kind of iffy.
iffy.
Listen, I just say this real quick. There's no Marvin Harrison Jr. There's no Malik Neighbors. There's no Rome Odunze, who the Bears got last year in this draft. It's some really good receivers that you can get on like day 2 or day 3. Yep. But receiver to me is not a priority for the Bears because you just drafted Rome Odunze and you obviously just paid DJ Moore.
I have to agree with you on that. He said, "Man, Swift ain't it for you." I mean, he all right. He can get it did.
Ashton Genty.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Next up, Detroit Lions. I don't really think they made too many moves. If you got a list of what moves they did.
Yeah, they signed DJ Reed, corner from the Jets, to replace Carlton Davis, who they lost in free agency to the Patriots. Again, I think he's a good short-term player, but I still think cornerback is a need for them, particularly opposite Terrion Arnold. Long term, I kind of like Reed. I like Reed. I think Reed is a really solid veteran, but again, they're going to think probably more long term. So they'll probably try to take a corner in this draft at some point as well. Defensive tackle is a need as well. Edge is a need as well. Offensive guard, offensive tackle, and wide receiver. Those are the needs for Detroit. They had about $51 million in cap space. Still have some cap space, but they're going to have to start allocating some of their cap space to some of their own players, which leads me to the first thing they need to do: extend Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson. It's probably going to be somewhere in that Max Crosby, Myles Garrett neighborhood now. Those guys got massive extensions, just a couple weeks ago. And so it's probably going to be somewhere in that. But Hutch he's the cornerstone of your defense. And again, how is Detroit built? Detroit is built in the trenches. You've already taken care of Aleem McNeil, who's really your interior force. You got to take care of Aiden Hutchinson outside. So we're going to extend Aiden Hutchinson as well. Second thing I have for them is to find a new starting corner, which they did and signed a DJ Reed, but I still think they do need to draft a young corner in this draft, a developmental guy in this draft. Maybe like a Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame in the second round. Potentially, it could be someone they could look at corner. As far as edge, maybe Landon Jackson from Arkansas. Again, you need another edge rusher on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson long term. I know they did re-sign Marcus Davenport. Listen, I know Marcus Davenport very well. You're not getting 16, 17 games out of Marcus Davenport. Let's just be
real. You're not.
All right.
No.
And then I think the last thing they need to do in terms of their offensive line is prepare a year ahead for Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow. Those guys are getting up there. I think you already have your left tackle on the roster because Penei Sewell, while he plays right tackle, he's the best right tackle in the league. If he moves to the other side, he'll be the best left tackle in the league. He's that good. So I think you already have that. But this draft, you could find some, offensive linemen, later in this draft, potentially developmental tackles. Again, someone like Holland Pierce from Rutgers could be a developmental tackle, maybe on day 2, day 3. But I think again, this is a team. They prided themselves on building the trenches on both sides. I think you're going to see them focus on that in this draft. And those are my Detroit Lions wish lists.
All right, now for my updated one with the Lions. First thing I said, because of the story we had going on, I'm ready to say exactly what I wrote. You are a Lion, not a Bengal. Pay your player early. Resign. Get Aiden Hudson out the way. Get that out the way. You are a Lion. You're not a Bengal. Don't make that same mistake. Knock that out at some point. Quicker the better. Also, we don't want the same problem we had last year. And I actually like this guy. Won't cost you that much to bring him back. He was solid. And just to give Hutchinson a little help, I like this Darius Smith with the Lions. I feel like you can bring him back. Won't be cheap. Cost you nothing. Draft game changer. And I know a lot of people wasn't high. on the one position I'm going to talk about. One majority draft first. I said first 3 picks go trenches, guard or another tackle or D tackle. But the biggest thing that I wrote on here, and I know everybody not high on this position, draft Jared Goff replacement. Get him a year early. Get somebody there developing. You got at least like two, maybe 2 more years. Maybe get a year ahead of it. I know everybody not high on these quarterbacks, but and especially if one possibly slip, maybe a dart, I'd say take them. Why not? Take them. I feel like, Quinn Ewers was iffy, but if you get them real low, I say take them. I think draft, it's really dart. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm thinking it's getting to that point of time. Jared Goff getting to that age. How many more years do you really think Jared Goff is gonna be good? A lot of people still getting old. I got two to three more, Sean. You can draft a guy. He can sit for 2-3 years, learn from behind him, learn the system, and then you have your replacement ready by the time it's time to resign.
I will say they do like Hendon Hooker a lot, but there's a quarterback in this draft that I like from Louisville, Tyler Shuck. Yeah, I think he's the guy that a lot of people are going to be looking at as one of those drafts sleepers. So,
big dude, 6'5" too. He's a big dude.
Yeah, and he can be one of those sleepers in this draft. I'll just say that.
Okay, next up on the list, Sean, Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers, again, playoff team, made some significant moves. They signed guard Aaron Banks to a 4-year contract. They also signed cornerback Nate Hobbs to a 4-year contract as well. Again, they had about $43 million in cap space as well. I know they re-signed Brandon McManus, their kicker, as well. They had some kicking issues for some time, but they seem to have, shored that up with Brandon McManus. But their team needs were cornerback, edge, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and offensive center. So the first thing for them is they got to find a resolution to the Jair Alexander situation. They're trying to trade him. I think they want to trade him. What are they looking for in terms of draft compensation will be interesting, but they need to find a resolution to the Jair Alexander situation. May not be able to figure it out until the draft, depending on, if teams, miss out on corners they're looking for. I think Jair Alexander could be a guy that could move during the draft, but they need to find a resolution to that and go ahead and extend Quay Walker. He is shown he is your inside linebacker, short and long term. Go ahead and get him extended now. And pause on the Christian Watson extension. No Christian Watson extension unless it's a very team-friendly extension. Christian Watson, we know when he's on the field, he can beast. The problem is he's just not always on the field. He's not always available. If I were them, I need to pause on the Christian Watson extension. And also, I think they can, wait on Devontae Wyatt's extension as well. Again, I think he's a really good player, but again, looking at the market for where the defensive tackle thing is right now, unless it's team friendly, I'm not extending him yet either. Second, bring Amari Cooper to Lambeau. You need a better receiver.
I wish I could show you, right? Yeah. I know you got to see it. Literally, bring a vet receiver, Amari Cooper, right? They need it, bro. They need it, bro.
I will tell you, before free agency, I wanted him to bring back Devontae Adams, but obviously he went to L.A., wants to be on the West Coast, you get it. So they need a veteran receiver in that room, badly. I think Amari Cooper would be really good in that room. to help kind of groom some of those, younger receivers. They got a good receiving group, obviously, with Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. But I think they do need a veteran guy in that room to help those guys, hopefully get to the next level. And then I mentioned, they did sign Aaron Banks. Interior offensive line is not a huge issue, but I do think it is something they probably do need to, consider looking at in this draft. Possibly Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, if he's available. Gary Zeeble from North Dakota State. Jared Wilson, the center from UGA. Get the interior of that line, tightened. Because, again, this is a team, and I want to say this all respectfully, they do kind of want to play very similar to the Eagles. They want to be a run team first. They want to lean on Josh Jacobs, So I think, to do that, you got to continue to fortify your offensive line. And so those are my moves for the Green Bay Packers.
All right, for the Green Bay Packers, get this one out the way because I revealed one of them because talk about it. Get a vet receiver. Sign Amari Cooper. It won't cost you nothing. Your number one guy, Watson, is always iffy, like you brought up, in and out the lineup. But you got a young, great core who needs that vet leadership to grow and develop. But also, I believe it will help Jordan Love too to have that vet guy who could just get open on certain plays and downs and be in there consistently. And Amari Cooper can be that guy. He can be your pretend number one because I know that's the main thing that they really, really need. But I think Watson can be that guy. He just got to stay on the field. But I think adding Amari Cooper will help. My second thing, with your first round pick, and I got my third scenario if this happens, choice of the Packers, because I don't really want them to be as good anyway. Draft the best D-line available. Available. I got him taking the D-line, the D tackle out of Oregon if he's there.
Derek Hartman.
But, yep.
Mm-hmm.
But my third thing, if he can find a way, and if he slips to you, I'm hounding the DB from Michigan, Will Johnson. If he slips this low, which I doubt, or if you can add your first pick with Jair Alexander to get the slot that he's available at, get rid of that pick, go get Will Johnson, and you knocked out two birds with one stone by getting rid of Jair Alexander, and you replaced him with a great corner.
You got Will Johnson going to like 5 teams in your.
Bro. I'm high on him, bro. I'm trying to tell you, if the Chargers could get him, I say get him. Hey, besides like Travis Hunter, bro, Will Johnson, the truth. I'm high.
No, he's the real deal. No, he's the real truth, deal.
Bro. Hey, look, I'm sorry if you got any DB problems and he ain't first on your board, you out your mind. You out your mind. I'm trying to tell you. I know I got him going to 5 teams. The 5 teams need to get him. But next up on the list, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes. Minnesota Vikings, again, they really addressed quite a few of their issues in free agency. They went out and made some really, really good signings, particularly on the interior of their defensive line, signing Jonathan Allen from the Commanders, signing Javon Hargrave from the 49ers, signing Will Freeze from the Colts, the guard. What did they do? They addressed the trenches.
The trenches. You can't win without it.
This is gonna be a revolving theme. Make sure you're good in the trenches. They were substandard in the trenches, to be frank. This past season, even though their defense played probably above expectation.
Outstanding, by the way.
Shout out to Brian Flores, but they needed to address that, and they did address that. But their team needs, and they re-signed Brian Murphy, their cornerback. So again, they did address, quite a few of their issues. But team needs a cornerback, defensive tackle, safety, running back, and offensive guard. They did make a trade for a running back. They did trade for Jordan Mason from the 49ers and signed him to a 2-year deal. Smart move on their part.
They still got Jones, right? They still got Jones.
Yes,
too,
we got
right?
Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones 31. So you got to start. He's getting a little long in the tooth, just to be honest. So, and they want to be their things. They want to be running back by committee. So they've said that. very openly. So first thing, trade out of the first round. Trade out of the first round. They only have about 4 picks in this draft, which is the least of any team. If you can trade out of the first round and accumulate some more draft capital, do so. Again, you got to look at the opportunity to add draft capital when you only have 4 picks in this draft. And they do still have some things they do need to address in this draft. Trade out of the first round. That is my first thing for them. Get out of the first round if you can drop back and get more draft capital. Second, draft eventual replacements for Harrison Smith and Aaron Jones. Harrison Smith is back, but Harrison Smith is 14 seasons in.
Yeah, about old.
Pro Bowler. It's almost over. So again, could you potentially add a Xavier Watts from Notre Dame in the second round as a potential replacement for Harrison Smith long term? Cam Scatterbo, the running back from Arizona State. I'm super high on him. I think he's going to be probably a top pick on day 3, may even slip into the bottom of day 2, the bottom of the third round. I think he would be a nice fit in that running back room for what they want to do in terms of running back by committee. And the third thing, sign Jameis Winston. Sign Jameis Winston. You are a team that is built to win now. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy is your QB1. You spend the 10th pick on the draft on him. It makes sense that you want to make him your QB1. But you're also a team that's got some veteran guys that's trying to win right now. You may not necessarily – you want a veteran guy who can play and can start if you need him to. Sign Jameis Winston, to your quarterback room with J.J. McCarthy.
For me, I only got 2 things for the Vikings. One, I went for the trenches, but I went on the opposite side. I didn't say trade the first round pick. I know they kind of short on it, but if you was to keep your pick, I say add to the O-line. And my number 2 thing that I got for them to do is sign a bridge quarterback, sign a vet quarterback. I don't necessarily want to know if I go Aaron Rodgers because it might be too much. Is he really going to help JJ? Like, so
No.
you go for something like Winston?
I'll answer that for you, no.
No. So, as I say, you could probably go for a guy like Winston who is a good 4-year quarterback. But then I also will let them battle for it. And if JJ was to lose out, I'm starting Winston. And after I'm starting Winston, I'm going to let them – if we have a good season, Winston going to finish the season. But if we iffy, by like week 8, I'm letting JJ start.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
That's all our NFC North. We got to go to the AFC East. Sean. Got to go Buffalo Bills on the list. What you got for the Buffalo Bills?
So Buffalo.
MVP.
Yeah, Buffalo at the time we were doing this has about $5.9 million in cap space, so not a lot of cap space. They did extend Josh Allen. Didn't have to. They didn't technically have to extend him, but they did redo his contract. So Josh Allen is making about $55 million a season. Good, smart on their part to get out in front of it and do that. But the first thing, their team needs are cornerback, safety, edge, wide receiver, and defensive tackle. Cornerback, safety, edge, wide receiver, and defensive tackle. First thing they need to do is extend James Cook. Extend James Cook.
I don't know why not yet.
Yeah. Well, this is his first. He had to be 3 years. You got to be 3 years in to be extension eligible. He just finished his 3rd season. For all the praise and all the talk about Josh Allen, James Cook is a huge part of what that offense has done the last couple of years. 16 touchdowns is nothing to sneeze at. Pro Bowl was nothing to sneeze at. You need to extend James Cook. Obviously, Saquon getting his deal redone where he's now at the $20 million a year mark for a running back. Probably not. It's not going to be there. But you're probably looking somewhere probably in that $15 to $16 million a year range for James Cook. But you got to get him extended. He is a huge part of what they do. Extend James Cook. Second thing they need to do is to reinforce the defensive line and secondary. Cornerback needs to be a priority in the draft. Maxwell Harrison from Kentucky, again, probably, I don't know if he's going to sneak in the first round because of his 40 time, probably more second round. Bills have 2 second-round picks, 56 and 62. Probably want to use one of those picks, at least one of those picks on a corner. They do need to reinforce the corner. And also, potentially, if Maxwell Harris is not there, Darian Porter from Iowa State could be another good corner, 6'2", rangy, really I think fits what, they want to do defensively, could be a good fit there. And also they need to find long-term replacements for Daquan Jones and the newly acquired Joey Bosa. None of those guys are long-term answers for you. You need to find, your replacements. Buffalo, keep in mind, Buffalo is a team. They are very dependent on their front four. They're not a team that wants to be heavy blitz. Obviously, you have Ed Oliver in the middle. You have Greg Rousseau, who they did extend, took care of getting extended, but they got to still prioritize their defensive line. And the third thing, and it's going to be a little different, prepare for the loss of Joe Brady in 2026, their offensive coordinator. He's probably going to get a head coaching job in 2026. So get out in front of that. You got Ronald Curry on the staff as your quarterback coach. Yeah. Get him prepped to be your next offensive coordinator, for Josh Allen. So, again, during the preseason, maybe let him call some games, some plays, things of that nature. Start getting ready for the loss of Joe Brady in 2026.
Cool. All right. For me, for the Bills, I'm gonna knock the funny one out the way first. I'm gonna knock the funny one out the way. You need a receiver, Sean. Probably ain't gonna cost you that much. You cheap. You should lowball, even though I know the money low right now. I'm still gonna say it because I had this on this before from the first time. But I know it's probably like dead now because of what's going on, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Bring back Stephon Diggs for a low ball. Bring back Diggs. Bring him back. He coming off an injury. Give him a 1-year deal worth pretty much nothing. Reunite him back with Josh Allen.
Listen, if they bring back Stephon Diggs, they got to be on Hard Knocks. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah. I need to see that. That need to be on TV. But next up, I really kept it like with all the other moves they kind of really much made. I really kept it like draft around, and I really said because it's hard to really tell with that second round like what's going to be available. But I literally said draft best cornerback, safety, and D tackle with the first 3 picks. I went all defense for the first 3 picks. I think, or somebody on the edge. And when it's like the first round, because it's really hard, you don't know who might slip. You could the guy from Michigan could go there, the guy from Ohio State, So for me, I'm keeping short, sweet, and brief. Draft the best. But my first 3 picks, all defense. I think at the end of the day, you can get you another little vet receiver, or you get you it's some good receivers you can get later in the draft, day 3 receivers, the skill positions. But you added to that defense with Joey Bosa. He's a little bit older, but like you said, you need to get ready to replace that. First 3 picks, all defense. And that's all I'm doing for the Bills, honestly. Next up on your list, Sean, Miami Dolphins. What you got for the Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins, so they got about $13.8 million in cap space. Their team needs an offensive guard, offensive tackle, safety, linebacker, and I added one physical running back. So first thing, find a long-term replacement for Teron Armstead. Teron Armstead, obviously was a big signing for them a few years ago. He's some questions about whether or not he's going to return for another season. Even if he does, you got to find a long-term replacement for Teron Armstead. Now, again, because you have Tua, your right tackle is your most important tackle, but you still obviously want a good left tackle. So find a long-term replacement for Teron Armstead. And they need to upgrade the interior defensive line. They still never really found an adequate replacement for Christian Wilkins. They need to focus some of their draft capital on trying to find that. Christian Wilkins is not easy to replace, but they need to start, figuring out, an adequate replacement for Christian Wilkins, who they lost a year ago in free agency. The second thing I have for them is find an impact playmaker at safety. They're picking 13 in the draft. Malachi Starks from Georgia could be, should be available around that time. Again, I don't know if 13 is too high for him, but they need to find an impact safety in this draft. They lost Javon Holland. Obviously, he's going to New York in free agency, so they need to find an impact safety in this draft. And then the third thing is grab a physical runner late in the draft. One of the biggest complaints about the Dolphins is they're a track team on the football field. But again, trenches, physicality, that's how you're going to eventually, hopefully for them, try to win a playoff game at some point here in the next year or so. But they need to find a physical runner in this draft. Khalil Mullins from Michigan, again, day 3, probably 6th, 7th round potentially for him. I think he kind of fits the bill of finding that physical runner who complements, A-Chain, things like that. But they need to find a physical identity. They need to show teams that they can punch him in the mouth. And they don't really have that right now. So find a physical runner in this draft.
For me, first round pick, I'm taking Starks out of Georgia if he's there, 100%. Number 2, I'm done with this experiment. I need a backup on hand. Imagine if I got to go get a bridge, I'm cool with a bridge. Have a safety net for Tua Tagovailoa. I'm done with this experiment.
They did sign Zach Wilson.
That's not you see how find a backup plan or a bridge quarterback, a replacement for Tua Tagovailoa. And if you have to draft him, the same quarterback that I've been talking about, let me go back to it again. I'm looking at my rookie list right here. If I don't know if I go 13, because if you go 13, you're pretty much telling you're replacing them.
Yeah, no, you can't draft them that high. Yeah,
but because of their play style, late, maybe he might drop the 3rd. Maybe I don't know about 2nd. Grab Jalen Milroe, draft Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. You want to be a track star team. You want to run crazy options and crazy plays. I think that guy can fit the mold where, as a quarterback, yes, passing is questionable. But with his athletic ability, you could run a lot of different schemes with him. I was saying draft Milroe late. All up and manager. This is only for a safety net purpose because Tua might get hurt. And what's the next best thing you could possibly have, right? A crazy athletic quarterback with nobody expect come out of here and break off on an option for 60 yards. We didn't see this. Look, I didn't see this happen before. Athletic quarterback come in. Colin Kaepernick came in, did it before. We can see it's possible. It's possible to happen. So I'm just saying, get safety valves for Tua Tagovailoa, and that's all I got for the Dolphins. Honestly, because that's only my main 2 concerns was really that they defense in the secondary, but definitely mainly the Tua one for me. Tua gotta go. Next up on the list, Sean, New England Patriots.
So New England Patriots obviously were probably the big winners in free agency. Probably the Patriots and the Bears. People say probably won free agency first week. Yeah. They went out and made a lot of moves. Obviously signing Milton Williams from Philadelphia to match him, put him on the line with Christian Barmore. Still, I think they're probably going to be more of a hybrid defense. So whether or not they'll use him as a 4-3 defensive tackle or a 3-4 end, I think remains to be seen. But they got to find ways for him to continue the production that he had, in Philadelphia. Also they signed Carlton Davis, the corner. Again, they're going to be, I think, a team that's going to play a lot of man with Christian Gonzalez and with Carlton Davis on at corner. They're going to play a lot of press, a lot of man. They're going to be a problem defensively, I think, this year. Got Morgan Moses, the tackle from the Jets, be their right tackle. Robert Spillane, the linebacker. Also, got Harold Landry from Tennessee as well, reuniting with Mike Vrabel. So they spend a lot of resources in free agency. But their team needs, again, were wide receiver, offensive tackle, edge, cornerback, and offensive center. First thing I have for them is they got to improve the offensive line. and they need to find a long-term blindside protector for Drake May. In this draft, I think it's super, super important that they do that. They're picking fourth. Again, I think if Travis Hunter's on the board at 4, there's going to be some temptation there. If Abdul Carter's on the board at 4, they're taking Abdul Carter. Let's just get that out of the way right now. But they will. No, they don't. Listen, he ain't falling out of the top 5 because I ain't doing the push-ups. But no, I'm kidding. No, he did. But no, Abdul Carter is someone who I think, again, is going to be very intriguing if he's on the board at 4. But you're going to look at these offensive tackles. Mimbu from Missouri. I know some people are projecting him at guard. He did play tackle in college. Probably too high to take him. Will Campbell is somebody, obviously, from LSU they'll probably be looking at. Kelvin Banks from Texas will be someone else they'll be looking at. But they're going to be in a good spot in 4 because, again, there may be some teams that want to move up. And, again, if they – we know the Patriots in their heyday, they traditionally would trade back and still get the people they want. So that could be something they could be considering in this draft as well. Second thing, they got to upgrade the wide receiver room. Number 4 is probably too high to draft a wide receiver. Best receiver in this draft, again, is Torrey McMillan from Arizona. Probably too high to take him at 4. Again, if they have the opportunity to trade back and get him, potentially, later in the top 10 or early in that 11 to 20, or 11 to 15 range in the first round, that could be potential they could be looking at. But again, someone in the second round probably is a little more realistic. Like Trey Harris from Ole Miss, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Those 2 guys are really very intriguing. I think they could be really, really good day one guys, for the Patriots. So something to look at. And the third thing is do not trade Joe Milton III. Do not trade Joe Milton III. I know there's a lot of intrigue about Joe Milton as a quarterback prospect, but it's hard to find really young quarterbacks like that. If something happens to Drake May, you're going to feel pretty good if Joe Milton has to come in and play. If he does, play at the level he played that last game of the season against Buffalo.
He that Ricky with the cannon on the arm, right?
Yeah, yes. So do not trade Joe Milton. Do not trade Joe Milton. Do not trade Joe Milton. That's it.
I mean, if the price is right,
do not trade Joe Milton.
If the price is right, anybody can go, Sean. Okay. Yeah. I understand with Abdul Carter, but I'm looking at this team a little bit different. It literally says Travis Hunter slips. If he does not, trade up to get him. I wouldn't trade the house. Travis Hunter. At the end of the day, they need a playmaker on both sides of the ball. I think this is the perfect situation for the Patriots and Travis Hunter, where this is a situation where he actually might get an opportunity to play both sides of the ball like he wants to, and they actually need him to play both sides of the ball consistently. Then the second one, I'm going to combine, the second and third one, I'm going to combine together. It says, protect Drake May and get him another weapon. At the end of the day, Drake May is your future. He need that wide receiver room is not really that hot. They really was relying on Ramondre Stevenson. So either I will buff if I get Travis Hunter, my next couple picks will be buffing that line, especially that blind side. And then I'll go late and I'll bring back either, like you said, they always find gems late. I'll either get Torrey Holton out of Colorado State, or I put the Colorado boys back together and I get Jimmy Horn Jr., probably late 6th, maybe 7th round, could be a steal of a draft of a pick. Put him and Travis Hunter back together to add some type of spark to my receiving room, which I do think that the Patriots do need on that side of the ball. And that's what I'd do if I was the Patriots. That's it. Last but not least, Sean, before we got to get up out of here, the New York Jets.
New York Jets. So obviously, you know, they did make some moves in free agency. Obviously, they've designated Aaron Rodgers and their inside linebacker they got from the Ravens, CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley post June 1 cuts. And then obviously they did sign Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million deal, mostly loaded up front in the first year. So they got about $26 million in cap space. Their team needs are offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback.
Everything.
So first thing I have on them is extend Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. That's no brainer. Again, Derek Stingley just got extended. You know, he's the highest paid corner in the league now. J.C. Horn has been extended as well. Sauce in that same draft class is extension eligible. You got to extend Sauce. I don't know if it's going to be at the Stingley number, but it's got to be right there in that neighborhood, definitely. And Garrett Wilson, again, no brainer. Extend him. He is your wide receiver, one of your future, present and future. Extend Garrett Wilson now.
Yep.
Olu Fushana is set at left tackle, but you need to find a bookend early in this draft. Preferably maybe in round 2. Cam Williams from Texas could potentially be an option for you. The tackle from Minnesota, Arante or Ursary, excuse me, from Minnesota could be an option for you. But you need to find a good bookend, you know, on the other side of Olu Fushana. And third, go all in with Justin Fields in 2025. You need to see if this guy can be your long-term franchise quarterback. He's still young. He's only 25 years old. I think he turns 26 this year. But go all in on Justin Fields. See if this guy can be your long-term future. You're the one team in your division that does not have a long-term answer at quarterback currently. You need to see if he can be that. So go all in with him in 2025. As much as you want to win games, and I know winning's going to be part of it, the focus has got to be, is this our guy?
Yep.
Don't do what Pittsburgh did last year. Go all in with Justin Fields. And then I got a bonus one. And the bonus one is trade Allen Lazard for a 7th-round pick. He's got to go. He's got to go. Get rid of the Aaron Rodgers guys. Allen Lazard's got to go. You can't cut him because it costs too much, but trade him for a 7th-round pick.
See, I don't usually, like with this team, especially with the new coach they got, defense is added. But I kind of went the opposite way because I focused more on the offense when I was looking at this. Because first things first on the list, I repeat, do not, and I wrote this in big letters, draft a quarterback. And the reason why I say that, you have a history of not doing well with drafting a quarterback. So don't go the young quarterback route is over with. Justin Fields is your guy. And it said New York Jets main mission, make Justin Fields a diamond. And the first thing you could do by making him a diamond is get him a weapon. And then at the 7th pick in the first round, try to get McMillan, because I know they got McMillan and I think I said his name.
Tito Roy.
Tito Roy. Yeah, get him from Arizona. Get him a weapon. I know it's early, but at the end of the day, you need weapons for Justin Fields. Also, the next pick, favorite style of running. I know they still got what's the back name? Beast. I called him why is his name for Beast Hall? I call him Beast Hall. They still got Brees Hall.
Yeah.
Beast Hall. We call him Beast Hall because in our Madden league, one dude was playing with him. He was like going crazy, but he always gonna be Beast Hall. Also, later in the draft, you might add another little young prospect at running back. You got Jenkins, Ollie Gordon. Maybe you can even add Devon Edwards. I feel add another back. I need another dynamic dual back with them next to Beast Hall, and they can run crazy type of offensive schemes for the New York Jets. And then also, because Justin Fields had been having this problem, he's been running for his life. Buff the lineup. I think we should prioritize. I know the guy that they got is a defensive-minded guy, and he want to run the. And I think he said he wants to run the ball if he do it on offense. That's fine. The first thing you could do is buff the trenches. Give Justin Fields the ability to feel protected for the first time in his career. I'm worried. I'm prioritizing the offense heavy for the Jets at this point in time because obviously the offense has been dog water the last couple of years. You got a dynamic quarterback. This organization is not good at developing quarterbacks. So let's just go ahead and try it with this vet. Don't go young. Don't look at no quarterback in this draft because this is no quarterback in this draft that can go above water of how trash the Jets is when it comes to developing quarterbacks. So no, if this ain't no life changer type quarterback, ain't no point because a lot of quarterbacks these drafts is good, especially the main two. But we can both agree that it's situational when it comes to them. And then y'all at 7, so I doubt y'all get anyone. And I hope Dart wouldn't get drafted in that to the team if that was the case. So for me, I'm everything about this offseason is turning Justin Fields into a diamond. I'm getting them weapons and I'm buffing the lineup to get them protected. And especially two of them weapons is I want a dynamic 2-back system for him because he already got his wide receiver. And if obviously the guy from Arizona is available, you definitely take him. And that's all I would do for the Jets if I was the Jets. 49ers fan, trenches all day, trade up for Grant at 11. We have to stop the run. There are decent edge rushes later. Very good show, guys. Appreciate you, DJ. Thank you for listening to the show, man. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You say 49ers fan. Yo, did we talk about the 49ers already?
We did the NFC
West.
Yeah.
Check it out. We talked about your 49ers. We got a video. We'll talk about the 49 NFC West. It's gonna be tough for y'all, man. Y'all gotta pay young boy. So
I'll say this real quick. I was talking with a 49ers fan earlier about this. These compensatory picks that you're going to get over the next couple of years, and you look at how the history of John Lynch in drafting, particularly 2nd through the 5th round, if I'm a Niners fan, and we're going to be okay. The big thing is, I know there's some talk about Ayuk and what they're going to do with Ayuk. I think it's a little premature, but, trust that they can, retool and reload with some young plate pieces, sooner than later.
Yeah, because you that's all you can do, honestly. It's none of that really could do. 151, so 51, Sean. Well, what you got?
Well, you see the logos behind me, and I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to this logo first. Is none other than Sam Mills, and to this logo, Bernie Williams.
Oh, okay, I like that pick. For me, because I'm in Chicago, gotta go. It's only right. Dick Butkus, gotta go. Dick Butkus,
the great Dick Butkus,
the great Dick Butkus. Yeah. That's it. Been another great show. Real Take So Effective Debates. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. With SB and Sean, we got a lot of stuff going on for Friday. Or we don't know. Friday, we got to see because I got possibly got a funeral to go to Friday. So we're going to check out. We might have the show drop Thursday or, me and Sean might have it drop Friday. I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Be looking down the post feed or be checking the social medias to get updates of what we got going on. But Sean, SB, Sean Webb, we are signing out and we'll see you guys on Monday. Peace. He said he agreed. Yeah. Peace out.
Real takes over fake debate.